Hi, this is Teresa from Color Crazy. I created this video with a selection of tips to help you finish creating the holiday panels. You're going to create rows around the design that function as a frame. And here you can see these 3 rows that function as a frame are about 3/8 inches in height. And the row I'm working on right now is about 1/4 inch in height. So you need to just make sure that you're pulling up loops that are consistent in height. And every time you pick up a loop, just give it a tug. Oops, it looks like it got stuck here. Just like that. And you want to make sure that you're pulling up loops that are the same size and height. So give it a tug. And I tend to pull up a lot of loops on the hook. You can pull up as many as you're comfortable with before you pull through the locking medium. When locker hooking letters, I personally like to locker hook them separately because they tend to pop a little bit more. But this does create the need for using different size strips to finish the letters like I'm doing here. Needed to add another little strip to finish the E. And of course this inadvertently will create lots of tails like you already see here. But it does add a nice effect and the letters tend to pop nicely. Alternatively, you could always just locker hook the letters as you're locker hooking the background by picking up and dropping the color as you locker hook the background. That just creates a sort of a seamless look and the letters tend to blend in more. But like I said, I love what it looks like when you do them individually. They pop a little bit more. And in the end, you can just clean it up by sewing in your tails. And here it is finished, and you can see all the tails that you have here. But that's really not a problem. You just sew them in and it finishes nicely. I wanted to show how you locker hook the base of the wreath. You basically pull up long loops without locking medium. You just use your hook, your locker hook, to pull up loops that are about 3/4 inches in height. This will create a nice texture for the base. And use your fingers to make sure the strips are spread apart and are not too tight. That way you'll have nice texture. Just like this, you just keep pulling up loops. And you know, it really doesn't matter if you miss a square here and there. It'll be perfectly fine. And if you get a couple of 1-inch loops, that's okay too. Just like that. What really makes this design plush and textural is the addition of ribbon and raffia. It creates a lot of extra texture, and I just wanted to show you how you can pull the raffia or the ribbon through like this. And you kind of are working in a zigzag fashion, but I just wanted to show you how you can use the hook to pull it up and your fingers to make sure that it spreads. And you can use the back of the or the front of the hook rather to pull open the loops and use your fingers to kind of spread the raffia and make sure that it's creating that lovely texture. Just like that. And you do it gently so you do not tear the raffia. And you can always adjust from the back like I'm doing here. Creating the berries is really simple. You take the strip of ribbon and you start by tying a slightly loose knot right in the center. And by loose, I mean just a tiny bit snug, but not really tight, just like that. And then you tie another knot on top of that and you pull gently so that it's a loose knot. And then one more time. You can tie this around about 3-4 times if needed to create the berry texture. There, and that looks like a good sized berry right there. And we're going to use that and place it in the wreath. Like that. And here I've already placed and attached the other berries, and I wanted to show you how to attach a berry. You are basically going to be using the needle eye portion of the hook, and you thread the tail through like that, and then you sew it through to the back. Just like that. You just pull it through. And then adjust the berry so that it's the right height. And then you just pull through the next tail, the other tail. Just pull it, sew it through to the back. There we go. And there are your tails. And then you're just going to tie those in a knot, and then you're done. That'll be how you secure your berries. To attach your bow, just tie it into a lovely bow, trim it as needed, and then place it. And you can just attach with a little bit of glue in the center and on the edges. And then the same will go for the accent gold ribbon that goes on top. You can twist the ends and place them and attach with a tiny little drop of glue. And quick grip is excellent for this. It dries really quickly. Just like that. To create the texture for the stem, you're going to use 2 different strips. And it's going to end right at the beginning of the leaves here. You're going to take the hand-dyed fabric strip and the woven papanis strip and pair them together and lock or hook them together. So this will create a nice thick stem with lots of texture. It is a little more difficult because, of course, it's thicker to pull through. So it's almost better if you do it one loop at a time. But to get started, let's just pull this up. You have to give it a nice tug. And I'm going to see if I can just continue to pull up loops and just grab them together and twist it as you pull it up. That way you get the varied texture in the stem, like that. Now, when you're working on design elements like this, it's really okay to just grab your canvas and hold it together, bunch it if you need to get access to the fabric strip and to get a good grip on the canvas like this. And so just give it a nice tug, and you keep doing this until you have filled in the stem design. And a couple of more loops here. And that's creating a really nice texture. Just use your hands and your fingers to bunch the canvas and hold it in place as you pull up the extra thick loop. Just like that. To create the mistletoe berries, you're going to use this shimmering ribbon, and it's a little bit slippery, but you basically create it by knotting in the very center with a very loose knot, kind of a snug knot, not too tight. And then you knot on top of that, and you're going to create about 3, maybe 4 knots to create the mistletoe berry. Just like that. That looks pretty good. And then you're going to place it according to your pattern. That'll go right about there. And then to sew it in, you can sew it in from the top or the back, but use the back end of your locker hook, the needle eye portion, and just thread the tails through, just like that. And then on this end, I'm going to do from the top. And then you just thread it through and pull the tail through. There we go. And you'll just tie it in the back. And that'll place your berry. To create a backing for your design, cut a piece of fabric with an additional 1-inch seam allowance for the backing, and iron on an interface that is an iron-on fusible to create more stability. And just press that in place as shown here. And then fold under the seam allowance, whether it's a 1/2 inch or 1 inch, whatever you left. Match it to your design and adjust it to fit, and then press it in place so that it fits perfectly. And then once that's done, you're going to be ready to do a nice top stitch, and use your sewing machine to top stitch around the edge about 1/4 inch from the outside, as shown here. And once that's complete, then you're ready to attach your backing. So trim the tails from your design. You want to trim them to about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, just to get rid of any excess long tails and additional weight there. And then you're ready to glue this on. I highly recommend using Quick Grip because it is a strong adhesive that dries very quickly. And what you would do is use your adhesive to create a bead around the very edge of the design, and then add some in the center and in the inner edges. Press the backing in place and adjust. And if you're using Quick Grip, all you have to do is use your hands to press it in place, and it'll grab on very quickly and dry fast. If you're using a different kind of adhesive that takes longer to dry, you're going to want to use some clamps or clothespins as shown here to hold it in place. And once it's dry, you'll be ready to display your new design. You can enjoy displaying your new holiday panels by hanging them or placing them on an easel. Have fun locker hooking and happy holidays. For more tips and videos, check out colorcrazy.com.